session, we will discuss the remaining dosage form related factors, how they are going to affect the absorption of a drug from the gastrointestinal tract. So this is a disclaimer for the viewers. So let us move towards the learning objective for the today's session. So after learning this module, you will be able to describe effect of dosage form on the absorption of a drug from the gastrointestinal tract. As you know that there are various types of the dosage form are there, and depending on their type and nature, they are going to affect the absorption of a drug from the gastrointestinal tract. And next learning point, that is after learning this module, you will be able to discuss the effect of product age and storage condition on the absorption of a drug. So in the today's session, we will discuss the effect of dosage form on the absorption and effect of product age and storage condition. In the last session, we have discussed the effect of excipient on the absorption and various formulation factors and processing variables, how they are going to affect the absorption of a drug from the gastrointestinal tract. So let us move towards the effect of dosage form on the absorption of the drug. As all of you are aware about, there are so many types of dosage forms are conventionally available in the market. They are available in the market as a conventional dosage form. For example, solutions, tablets, capsules, powders, and so on. When we are preparing the dosage form, we have to supposed to consider the so many parameters while selecting the suitable dosage form, because our ultimate aim is to improve the clinical efficacy or clinical outcome of that specific product designed. So that's why selection of the proper dosage form, it is an very important factor for the formulation scientist. You have learned all these dosage forms in the first year B.Pharm itself. You are aware about all the definition, then the formulation aspects, preparations, and the evaluation. As you know that there are two rate limiting steps are there in the absorption of a drug from the gastrointestinal tract. Very first step, that is the dissolution of the drug, and second step, that is the permeation of the drug. If we have given these conventional dosage forms by oral route of administration, say for example tablet, it is going to be disintegrated into the gastrointestinal tract and furthermore dissolved into the gastrointestinal fluid. And absorption site, furthermore, the drug, it is going to be absorbed into the systemic circulation, and which is going to elect their pharmacological action. As all these conventional dosage forms are furthermore classified into the liquid dosage forms, right? Then solid dosage forms and the gaseous dosage form. Generally, we are using the liquid dosage forms and the solid dosage forms for the oral route of administration, right? If we want to prepare the formulation for the pediatric patients, generally we used to prefer the solutions or the biphasic dosage forms. Liquid dosage forms are furthermore classified into the monophasic liquid dosage forms and the biphasic liquid dosage forms. Monophasic liquid dosage forms, for example, solutions, elixirs, syrups, which are given by the oral route of administration. And the biphasic dosage forms like emulsions and the suspensions. Both the formulations used internally as well as the externally. When we want to deliver the lipophilic drug, generally we are using the emulsion. If the drug or API, it is insoluble in the water co-solvents, then we are selecting the suspension as a dosage form in the case of pediatrics as well as the geriatric patient. Apart from these liquid dosage form, there are certain solid dosage forms are also available in the market. That is very first one, which is not a unit solid dosage form, that is powders. You can say it as a bulk powders for internal use. Then unit solid dosage forms like capsules and tablets are available in the market, and which is widely accepted by the patient. The main problem related with the tablet, that is a swallowing difficulty, and which is being overcome in the capsule type of the dosage form. It is going to be easily swallowed by the patient. Apart from these three solid dosage form, there are certain other solid dosage forms are also there, which are coated tablets. Say for example, sugar coated tablet, film coated tablet, chocolate coated tablet, and so on. In order to maintain the stability of the API, we are also preparing the entry coated tablet. And the last type of solid dosage form, that is a sustained release dosage forms, or it is also known as the modified release formulations. Generally, the modified release formulations are prepared in order to reduce the dosing frequency, so as to we will get the patient compliance, right? If the frequency of administration is more in the case of conventional formulations, patients are non-compliant, and which can be overcome by using the or by preparing the sustained release formulation. So these are the some of the dosage forms like solutions, emulsions, suspensions, powders, capsules, tablets, coated tablets, entry coated tablet, sustained release tablets, which are used for the oral route of administration. As you know that few of them are the liquid, few of them are the solid dosage form. In the case of a solution, definitely the drug, it is going to be dissolved in the suitable solvent. Already we have discussed the various excipients which are used to prepare the liquid formulation. Means the drug, it is present in the dissolved state. So automatically only the thing which is remaining from this step, that is a permeation of drug through the membrane, or the absorption of a drug from the gastrointestinal tract. So on the basis of dissolution rate, all these conventional formulations may be arranged in an order, like solutions have the greater dissolution rate, or they are going to be absorbed well than the suspensions, powders, capsules, tablets, coated capsules, coated tablets, and modified release formulation. Modified release formulation, they are going to release the content into the gastrointestinal tract at a zero order or at a slow rate, and whatever the released amount is there, it is going to be absorbed into the systemic circulation. Okay, so let us move towards how these factors, how these dosage forms are going to affect the absorption of a drug from the gastrointestinal tract. So very first formulation, that is known as the solution. So solutions are simply the drug, it is going to be dissolved into the suitable solvent. It is the monophasic liquid dosage forms. There are so many drugs, so many formulations are available in the solution form, and we are getting the immediate effect, or there is an immediate onset of action when the solution formulation is given. The reason behind is that the drug, it is present in the dissolved state. Already we have discussed the type of vehicles which are used to prepare the solutions, or you can say it as a monophasic liquids. For example, solutions, then the elixirs or the syrups. So the syrups and elixirs shows a rapid and a complete absorption of a drug from the gastrointestinal tract. In the case of syrups, drug, it is present in the dissolved state. They are having a high viscosity, and furthermore, it is going to affect the diffusion of a drug from the formulation into the gastrointestinal fluid. In the case of elixirs, these are the hydroalcoholic preparation in which drug is present in the dissolved state, right? So there is no dissolution step over here, and the drug, it is going to be absorbed well from these formulations. So the dilution of drug with a solution with the gastric fluid may result in precipitation. Sometimes in the case of either solutions or the elixirs preparation, there may be there is a dilution of a drug solution with a gastric fluid, and that may result in a precipitation of a drug in the gastrointestinal tract, which may get redispersed easily and as a fine, and they are having a low particle size with a high surface area and going to be dissolved well into the gastrointestinal fluid, and furthermore, it is going to be absorbed into the systemic circulation well. The factors that needs to be considered while designing the solution formulation in order to minimize the effect on the absorption of a drug, that is a type and nature of vehicle, whether we are using the aqueous vehicle or non-aqueous water miscible vehicle or non-aqueous oily vehicles. Then the viscosity of the formulation, it is yet another important parameter which is going to affect the dissolution or diffusion of a drug from the formulation into the gastrointestinal fluid. Then there is a formation of a reversible complex. If the reversible complex is going to form, it may be insoluble, and that will create a problem for the absorption of a drug. Then chemical stability, which is yet another important thing. There are so many drugs are there, no doubt they are going to be dissolved well into the vehicles, but again their stability, it is questionable, and thereby there is a decrease in the efficacy of the product, or the absorption of a drug, it is going to be decreased. And the last parameter, that is a micellar solubilization. So these are the things which needs to be considered while designing the solution formulation in order to get the optimum absorption. Generally, the solution formulation shows the highest bioavailability than that of the all other remaining conventional formulations. So this is about the solutions. Let us move towards the emulsions. So emulsions, these are the biphasic heterogeneous thermodynamically unstable system in which one phase is dispersed into the another phase, and it is going to be stabilized by using the emulsifying agent that is known as the emulsions. Emulsion, it is a biphasic liquid formulation. Drug, it is present in the dissolved state, either in the aqueous phase or in the oily phase, isn't it? So there is no further dissolution of a drug, it is required. If the drug, it is present in the oily phase, how the drug, it is going to be partitionized into the gastrointestinal fluid, that is the important factor which is going to affect the absorption of a drug from the emulsion formulation. There are certain drugs are there which are going to be absorbed well from the emulsion formulations as compared to suspensions and the solutions. The type and concentration of emulsifying agent, as you know that the emulsifying agents are furthermore classified into the non-ionic, then cationic and anionic. Which type of emulsifying agent we are using in the formulation, that is again important thing, and the ratio of dispersed phase and the continuous phase. So these four are the important factors which are going to affect the absorption of a drug from the formulation emulsion. The emulsion formulations are superior than that of the suspension because of drug it is present in the dissolved state either in the aqueous phase or in the oily phase. Generally, O by W type of emulsions are preferred for the oral route of administration. So after administration, the drug it is going to be directly absorbed into the lymphatic system. If it is present in the oil phase, it is going to be emulsified by the biliary secretions and going to be reached into the lymphatic system, and thereby it is going to avoid the first pass metabolism. For example, NaCid, indoxazole. If we have prepared the emulsion of the indoxazole drug, will get the good absorption, and it is due to the as drug it is being directly absorbed into the lymphatic system, and furthermore the first pass metabolism of drug it is going to be avoided. So this is about the emulsion. Moving towards the suspensions. As all of you are aware about, suspensions are the biphasic liquid dosage form. So suspensions are biphasic heterogeneous system in which the solids are dispersed into the liquids, and the suspensions are being stabilized by using the viscosity fying agents or the suspending agents. These viscosity fying agents or the suspending agents which we are using in the suspension that may create the problem for absorption of a drug by forming the insoluble complex and by imparting the high viscosity to the formulation. So the viscosity of suspension affects the drug dissolution into the gastrointestinal fluid. The critical factors which needs to be considered in the case of suspensions, like the particle size of the solids, then the crystal form, which type of crystal form is used over there, whether there is any crystal growth, and so on, and furthermore formation of a non-absorbable complex. These three things are important. One more thing is that we have to as almost more than 60% of drugs are available in the polymorphic form, and only metastable form shows the good dissolution as well as the solubility. And if we are preparing the suspension by using a metastable form, there might be chances of conversion of the metastable form of the drug into the stable form during the storage period of the suspension. So that needs to be considered. Then there is a change in the crystal lattice of drug may cause the flocculation in the suspension. So these are the things related with the suspension. Moving towards the next type of formulation, that is known as the powders. So powders are the solid dosage form. These are finely divided, isn't it? Nowadays, we are not using the powders. Its use is limited, and we have shifted from the powders to the unit solid dosage forms like tablets and the capsule. But powder dosage forms are superior than the tablets and capsule, as it is present in the fine divided solid, as it is present as a finely divided solid. Smaller particles are there, and which is having a greater surface area. So they are going to be dissolved well than that of the tablets and the capsules. While designing the powder formulation, we have to suppose to consider the parameters like particle size, then the polymorphism and the weighting properties of the particle. If the particles are not going to be weighted properly, they are not going to be dissolved well. Already we have discussed these things in the physicochemical properties of the drug. So there is no need to repeat the things. As such, it is not that much widely used due to their handling and the palatability issues. If the drug it is having a bitter taste or nauseating odor, in such cases, it is not at all possible to use the powder type of formulation. So in this way, the powders are going to affect the absorption of a drug from the gastrointestinal tract. Moving towards the capsule type of formulation. So the capsules. What are the capsules? So capsules are the unit solid dosage form in which the drug it is enclosed into the gelatin shell, isn't it? Furthermore, the capsules are divided into the hard gelatin capsule and the soft gelatin capsule. In the case of hard gelatin capsule, generally we are filling the powders, granules, and pellets. And in the case of a soft gelatin capsule, we are filling the liquid formulation. So in the case of soft gelatin capsule, we will get the good bioavailability, good dissolution than that of the hard gelatin capsule. In the case of hard gelatin capsule, we are filling the material as a powders or the granules. So they are going to be resolved into the gastrointestinal fluid when we are comparing it with the soft gel capsules, in which the drug it is present in the dissolved state. So the absorption from the capsule may be affected by the various excipients which are used in the formulation, whether it is a hydrophilic or not, then the particle size of the solids, then chemical and physical incompatibility of the drug with the filler and the other ingredients. These three things are need to be considered in the case of capsule, and they are going to affect the dissolution of a drug into the gastrointestinal fluid. As a soft gelatin capsule shows faster absorption than the hard gelatin capsule. Already we have discussed. Water soluble drugs, in the case of a soft gelatin capsule, water soluble drugs migrated towards the soft gelatin shell, and the dissolution it is going to be affected. So this is about the capsule. Let us move towards the tablets. So tablets are the unit solid dosage form which are being prepared by the compression method, which is with or without diluent. Simply, that is known as the tablet. It is a compact disc and which is widely accepted. There are so many manufacturing variables are there which needs to be considered while designing the tablet formulation, because all these parameters or the factors are going to affect the dissolution as well as the disintegration. The parameters needs to be considered, that is the compression force. If there is a high compression force, we have used the dissolution, it is going to be decreased. At a slow rate, the drug it is going to be released into the gastrointestinal fluid. Then the which type of method it is used for the granulation, again it is important. Then the compatibility of the drug with the various excipients. As you know that if we are using the hydrophilic diluents in the tablets, and if the drug it is poorly soluble, in such cases the dissolution of the poorly soluble drug it is going to be increased. Many related factors to the excipients, then the manufacturing process of tablet may affect the drug absorption from the tablet. So this is about the tablets. Moving towards the coated tablet. We are using or we are coating the tablet for the certain reasons. For say example, the aesthetic appeal, for patient acceptance, to mask the bitter taste and the odor, for the stability of the product, and so on. These coated tablets are furthermore classified as the sugar coated tablets and the film coated tablets, isn't it? In the case of sugar coated tablet, we are for the seal coating, we are using the shellac, and on aging, there might be chances of decreasing the dissolution of this shellac coat, and thereby the dissolution it is going to be affected. In the case of film coated tablet, the thickness of film coat that is very important, and if it is a thicker, the dissolution it is going to be altered. So the type of coating, then the thickness of coating, which is going to affect the dissolution as well as the absorption. Then the one most important thing is that in the sugar coated tablet, whatever the sugar coat is given on the tablet, which is going to increase the size of tablet around 50%, and this coat it is very tough, and it takes a time for the dissolution in the gastrointestinal fluid. So this is about the coated tablet. Moving towards the enteric coated tablet. Why we are offering or giving the enteric coat to the tablet? In order to dissolve the tablet into the small intestine. Our target is the small intestine, or to protect the drug from the acidic environment. And for that purpose, we are using the enteric polymers like a cellulose acetate phthalate. As these polymers are not going to be dissolved in the acidic environment, and there is a delay in the dissolution of the enteric coated tablet. There are the most of the viability issues we are getting for the enteric coated tablet, and this coat it is going to be dissolved only in the alkaline medium. If there is a situation like achlorhydria, no doubt the formulation it is going to be dissolved into the stomach only. Again, that will create issues for the absorption of a drug. Furthermore, the type of meal, then the gastrointestinal motility, which is going to affect the emptying of tablet into the small intestine, emptying of tablet from stomach to the intestine, and which delays the dissolution of the drug. Then thickness of enteric coat, in the aging, already we have discussed the example shellac, which is going to affect the dissolution. So this is about the enteric coated tablet. Moving towards the sustained release tablets. So sustained release tablets, these are the tablets which are going to release the drug at a slow rate into the gastrointestinal tract, and the same amount it is going to be absorbed into the systemic circulation, and which maintains the plasma drug concentration, and furthermore reduces the dosing frequency of the conventional formulation. So whatever the release, to prepare the sustained release formulation, generally we are using the polymers. Either these polymers are hydrophilic in nature or hydrophobic in nature, isn't it? There are so many waxes are there, hydrocolloids are there, synthetic polymers are there, natural polymers are there, and the release of the drug from these polymers are almost unpredictable. It is not possible to predict the drug release from these formulations. One more important thing which needs to be considered, suppose that we have prepared the sustained release formulation. All these are the non-disintegrating discs generally, and if it is going to be disintegrated into the gastrointestinal tract, what will happen? There will be the dose dumping, and that may lead to the toxicity, isn't it? So this is about the sustained release tablets. So in this way, the nature and type of dosage form, it is going to affect the absorption of a drug from the gastrointestinal tract. Let us see the stages in the drug absorption from various dosage form. So here it's a solution, emulsion, suspension, powders, capsules, and tablet. All these are the conventional formulations which are used for oral route. So solution formulation, it shows the fastest absorption than that of the tablet, because drug it is present in the solution form. In the case of tablet, it should be disintegrated, then it gets converted into the granules, then there is a deaggregation, then the fine particles with a high surface area, then these particles are going to be dissolved, drug it is being in the solution, and then it is going to be absorbed. In the case of capsules, generally we are filling the granules or powder material into the capsule. So these are the further steps which are involved in the absorption of a drug from the capsule type of formulation. Powder, almost it is present in the fine powder. In the case of suspension, solids are dispersed into the suitable liquid. In the case of emulsion, there is a drug, it is present in the dissolved state, either in the aqueous phase or the oily phase. If it is present in the oily phase, how it is going to be partitionized into the gastrointestinal fluid, that is very important. And in the case of solution, it is present in the dissolved state, and furthermore it is going to be absorbed. So in this way, the nature and type of dosage form, it is going to affect the absorption of a drug from the gastrointestinal tract. Moving towards the product and the storage condition, product age and storage condition. So precipitation of drug in the solution due to altered solubility. If the metastable form is there in the liquid formulation, and if it gets converted into the stable form, there might be chances of precipitation of drug in the solution during the storage period or on aging, or there might be chances of particle growth in the suspension, which is stored under improper storage condition, isn't it? That will adversely affect the dissolution as well as the absorption of a drug from the gastrointestinal tract. One more example, that is a hardening of tablet, which is stored at a higher temperature, that may result in a low dissolution and absorption from the gastrointestinal tract. So whatever these products are there, it should be stored under the prescribed storage conditions, like a cool and dry place, or in the refrigerator, or in a dark place. So there is a need to consider the product age as well as the effect of storage condition on the drug absorption. So this is about the product age and the storage condition. Hope all of you have understood how the dosage form related factors are going to affect the absorption of a drug from the gastrointestinal tract. Let us move towards, let us see the summary. So in the today's session, we have discussed the effect of dosage form on the absorption of a drug from gastrointestinal tract, and furthermore we have discussed the effect of product age and storage condition on the absorption. Thank you very much.